Hey everybody, this is Robot here from Vespa Motorsport and ScooterWest.com. I have a lot to tell you about this scooter right here. This is the Buddy 125 and a brand new version. It's been around forever. I'm going to tell you everything I know about this scooter and my thoughts on it. Whether you're looking for a new or used one, I'll tell you about all the problems with it. There's very few, that's the fortunate thing. So first of all, the boring history lesson on the Buddy 125, 150, and 170 scooter. They're all the same bodywork. There is a new Buddy Kick. That's a completely different scooter. Also sold through Genuine Scooter Company. Well, Genuine Scooter Company started in the early 2000s, and they originally imported the LML Star 150 scooter, which was a nearly identical clone to a Vespa PX 150. A lot of little differences, and it was made in India. Well, guess what? Those dried up, and they wanted to diversify and tackle the automatic market, because during the early 2000s, Vespa came back with the automatic Vespa ET4. Many of the other makes were starting to come out with automatic scooters, and Genuine wanted to get their foot in the door on the automatic scooters, and they started it with both the Buddy 50 and the Buddy 125. This is a brand new 2020 Buddy 125. Back in 2005, I was in Denver, back when lots of scooter rallies still occurred, Mile High Mayhem, or maybe it was a Vespa. I don't remember. Don't hold me to the years that I speak of. I've been into these scooters a little too long at this point, and I'm feeling my age. But I saw these scooters at the Genuine booth. I was very familiar with the Genuine Stella. They did not sell that in California, but a lot of people brought them into California because everybody wanted a little piece of the pie with the vintage Vespas, but wanted something new, so that's where you went with those. So I saw that they had a Buddy 125 on display. They let me take it for a ride. I think it was Ryan Jeffries, who was like the service manager of ScooterWorks at the time or something like that, along with Phil McCaleb, who was the founder of ScooterWorks and the Genuine Scooter Company. Both those people are long gone and have moved on. Fortunately, both ScooterWorks and Genuine Scooter Company are still prospering, just like we are, ScooterWest.com, for all things Vespa, and even the Genuine scooter. We carry all the accessories for this scooter and many of the spare parts. But back to the subject of our history lesson here. Check that scooter out, and I was rather impressed with it. The first generation Buddy 125 had a much smaller headlight with just a basic incandescent bulb, had like a regular incandescent taillight, but it looked identical to this. They didn't change any of the bodywork from this. This scooter is pretty timeless in that regard. It's still a popular model. People love how it looks. So that's a lot to be said when you can have something that's been around for 15 years on the market with very little change. It helps to hold the value of the used models of this and kind of shows that they've done something right if they're still selling it after 15 years with very few updates. But I reported back to Vespa Motorsport, Alex, the owner here, and said, this is a great scooter. I sure hope we sell these soon. The Buddy 50 was never a popular seller here in California. I will say they're rather peppy for a 50cc scooter, and they're pretty popular still to this day in many markets where 50cc scooters are popular. The Buddy 125 is kind of what started it all out. In Taiwan, the parent company that makes this is PGO Scooter Company. They've been around for many years. In fact, they've made a Vespa in the past. They've made, I don't know if it was under license. Alex, the owner here, has one of the Vespas that's made by them back in the day. But they started building things very much on the Honda model of building and parts and all that, very similar to a Honda style scooter, how it's assembled and so forth, in the 90s from what I understand. And in Taiwan, this was called the Bubu 100, 100cc four-stroke engine, Bubu 100. Phil knew that Bubu doesn't fly here in the United States of America, so he renamed it the Buddy. So I could go on for hours on the history lesson of this scooter. Everybody just wants to get to the meat and potatoes. what's the scooter all about? What are the features of it? Maybe you're looking at it or considering a scooter. Maybe you have it and want to critique my review or correct me. That's cool. Go for it. That's what the comments are for. But we'll start from the front and move to the back. All the features, and they pretty much are nearly unchanged over all the years. The headlight, after a couple years, they did go to a halogen headlight that's a little bit brighter and it's larger in physical size. The downside to this, if this scooter falls over, it typically breaks the headlight rim and blows out the headlight into plastic. So that's the first thing that usually blows out when these things hit the ground. Could be an added cost. No one ever plans on crashing. It's got basic controls, a set of chrome mirrors, very simple controls. You got a front hydraulic disc brake, which is a good thing. It self-adjusts, gives a very long service life, and is more than adequate for the 10-inch size tires on the scooter. The rear brake on the left side is a mechanical drum brake. Again, very reliable, but does need occasional adjustment. More than adequate for this size scooter. Don't really need all the braking force, so that's why they go for the lower tech mechanical drum brake. As for the controls, you got the ignition switch, you got a run switch. Most of the systems on this scooter run off a magneto, which means that when you start it, the lights come on. And it's kind of a nice thing. You can leave the ignition on. It's not going to drain the battery too much. This is a neat feature you never find on any of the Vespas. You'll find on the high-end Piaggio stuff. Hazard light, I love that. And there's one thing you hear here. It's an audible clicker for the turn signals. Sounds like what you'd find in a car. It's a very nice touch for a lower price scooter. So you pull either the brakes. The carbureted ones usually come to life pretty easy. You know, if it's cold, you may need to twist the throttle a little bit to get it started. It's got the kill switch. It's got your turn signals with push to cancel and indicators for each side, which is a nice feature so you know what side's on. And depending on the model, if it's a 125, it has a horn that sounds like this. If you have the discontinued older Buddy 150, which the name implies it has a larger engine, it's got a horn that sounds like this. And the Buddy 170 sounds a little bit like this. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Genuine kind of started to craze for the horns on scooters. They all have good horns for the size, especially the Buddy 150. Comes with a little compact air horn. Buddy 170's got the kind of trumpet horn. Very interesting because all the Vespas have used the same little basic disc horn. If honking is important to you, this is the scooter for you. So you got a basic plastic bodywork. That's a combination of painted parts and unpainted parts. Sometimes these unpainted parts, depending on the trim level, are also color keyed to the color combination. The Buddy 150s were named after European kind of influence, the Series Italia, the Pamplona, which is like the Spanish kind of Mediterranean look, and there's Saint Tropez, the French kind of look. Very, very clever marketing. I loved it. And they still continue that to this day with many of the color schemes. They have countless number of colors of the scooter throughout the years. Obviously, each year they only have a couple available, but it's pretty neat that they've done that. You see it's got the pod turn signals that are required for the North American market because of the distance. The cool thing is there's a pair of turn signals in here. And you can look in the description of this video. We do sell the deadlight conversion kit, which includes the wiring harness to convert these to be running lights, so they look cool. It is possible to just easily wire them as a turn signals, but oftentimes people leave the pods and you have an extra set of LED running lights. That's the most popular option. Moving down to the wheel, it's got the basic telescopic hydraulic front forks that work adequate. One thing to keep in mind, it has the classic 10-inch tire. These tires are inexpensive, which is great. Another plus is it's a very, very nimble scooter. That's also a negative too. Most modern scooters have gone up to 12-inch or even larger size tires, such as what's found on the Liberty. very popular segment that have the larger size tires. These small tires, as the size implies, you hit a pothole, it's gonna jar you a little bit more. They're just gonna be a little bit squirrelier. And unfortunately, I would say it's just a little bit more dangerous than any of its other modern counterparts for the scooters with larger tires, ABS brakes, just the smaller tires. I love riding on small tires, but you gotta know the pitfalls that come along with it. I do see people crash these a little bit more. I don't know what the real statistic is, but I do blame the smaller tires for more crashes on these scooters. They do have more adequate disc brakes, but with the smaller tires, your braking distance is gonna be not as good as something with 12-inch tires that have the same braking system. Small tires tend to lock up a little quicker. The cool thing they did do in the last year is they finally upgraded from the steel wheels that were known to be pretty fragile. We've changed several wheels over the years. The steel wheels are pretty flimsy, so if you hit a huge pothole, you're likely to ding the rim or throw it out around. They did go to a more modern cast wheel on the scooter in the last 2 years, and that's both the front and rear. So the all-important comfort factor. I'm about 5'7", maybe 5'8", somewhere in there. Despite being a physically pretty small scooter that's lightweight, I find this to be a rather comfortable scooter. The reason being is the floorboard height is really low compared to a lot of other scooters in this price point. So I do not feel cramped at all when I'm on the scooter. I mean, my knees do come close to the handlebars, making a right turn, but that's no big deal. It's just, I'm kind of in a neutral, nice position for my size. But not only that, I easily flat-foot it. So this scooter is also more adequate for somebody that's shorter than me. You know, maybe even 6 inches shorter, somebody that's about 5 foot. You can get a lowered seat from the factory along with a lowered shock. It does affect the handling a little bit with the lowered shock, but this scooter is a very ideal choice for somebody that's a little bit shorter, but it also is comfortable for somebody that's my size or even a little bit taller. That's something to be said that they got the ergonomics pretty good on the scooter, and I do like that part of it. It's got this nice little pocket that comes in handy. You could put a rag in there, your wallet, whatever, something, you know, phone, probably bounce around a little bit. Unlike the Vespas that have covered the bag hook, they do have a bag hook. It's just a fixed piece of plastic. Works pretty well. Controls are very easy to use and a very basic instrumentation that's easy to read. Just got the necessities, your speed and your fuel gauge and a couple basic lights. Nothing too complicated to look at. Mirrors work great. They're a little wider than the handlebars, so I completely see behind me, no problem. They're not incorrectly sized or too narrow. You got a multi-function key, which is a good thing. I do like a lot of scooters that have a fully mechanical multi-function key. You got the off position, the key comes out. Keep in mind when you turn it to the on position, which is about the 11 o'clock position right there, there's no lights that are on that tell you it's on. If you do leave it that way, it will eventually drain the battery, but the scooter is kind of armed and ready to start in that mode. You turn the key all the way, or turn the handlebars all the way to the left, you're able to lock the steering and essentially makes it much more difficult for the scooter to be stolen. And the last position for this key, so we'll go back to the off. If you push it in and turn it counterclockwise, it pops the seat to reveal a generous underseat storage bay. And I mean generous because it's a little bit larger than the Vespa Primavera and Sprint. You can fit most full-size helmets in there. Sometimes they're a little bit too tall for the seat pocket. It's got a basic little toolkit here. A pair of pegs to hang your D-rings from your helmets off to the side. And just like most other scooters, it has the fuel right underneath the seat. These do get pretty good mileage. The range isn't too bad on them. If you ride them easy, they'll go a little bit over 100 miles. I think they hold just under 1.5 gallons, if I recall. I don't have the spec in front of me. But The seat's very nice, works good. Not the most comfortable scooter for two up. It's a little cramped in my opinion, but people do use them for two up riding. Moving on to the rear, again, the exact same size 350/10 rear tire. The 150 and 170 size engines of these do have a slightly larger tire on them, a 190/10 tire, just slightly bigger, but pretty much still just a basic 10-inch tire. 125's got the nicest looking muffler, looks like a sausage with a flying wing on it. You got very easy to change oil. Dipstick takes less than 1 quart of oil to do a change on it. They do have a recommended service intervals for this scooter to keep it going, but these things are known to be rock solid even if you just do basic oil changes on them. In order to keep the warranty valid, I'd recommend servicing it as per what's in the owner's manual, but not much is needed to keep these going. I've even seen dry belts last like 15,000 miles in these. It's incredible. You know, that's something that never happens on a Vespa. Obviously, your mileage may vary on the belt. They recommend changing belts 6,000 or 8,000 miles on this scooter. Inexpensive dry belt change out. But it's a basic engine architecture built with very high quality components, much higher quality components than many of its Chinese counterparts that are all based on this similar architecture of a motor, basic 2-valve air-cooled motor that's loosely based on an old 80s Honda design. It's got the standard center stand here. You know, obviously you could service the rear tire pretty easily if it's up on the stand. And in addition to the center stand, it does have a side stand. Keep in mind, it doesn't have any sort of safety features or safety switches, so you definitely want to kick that up before you go off riding. For over 12 years, they've had the LED taillight. Turn signals are still built into these pods, which is nice. Very, very bright, very reliable, never fails. It's got this long fender. You can remove this little extension. This thing's nice if you're riding it in inclement weather. Kind of keeps the rain off the back of the scooter, the water and dirt. But other than that, it's just a nice, rock solid, rugged little scooter that tends to have a good service life. If you're wondering where the battery is, it's located underneath the floorboard, this floor mat right here. So the last two features this scooter has, the 125 does have a Kickstarter. It is possible to kickstart it. It's rather difficult because it's best to get it past the compression to try to start it. You can use that, but if the scooter's been sitting forever and it's got a clogged carburetor, you're probably not likely to start it with that Kickstarter, and best to just put a battery in it. Buddy 170s, I've never had a Kickstarter just because they're fuel injected. You need to have the battery there to start it. I wouldn't call that a dealer breaker because, like I said, it's not really that good of a design to really start the scooter on a regular basis. Also located right in this leg shield. If you have the older model, it's going to have the regular cigarette lighter style 12-volt outlet. It's only suitable for like a mobile phone charger, a cell phone charger or whatever, because it's only protected by a 1-amp fuse. On the later models in the last couple of years, they've changed it over to the ubiquitous USB jack for charging your phone, which is a nice little touch. So I'll go over the various variations of the Buddy scooter, the 125, the 150, and the 170, and also the current pricing. So if you're looking to buy one of these brand new in 2020, the Buddy 125, the MSRP is $26.99. If you're looking to upgrade to the slightly more powerful and fuel injected Buddy 170, that typically comes with white wall tires and a couple other trim changes, you're at $32.99. Used ones, they range anywhere from something that's in very poor condition at $500 that probably needs some serious TLC, to decent used ones that typically fetch $1,500 to $2,500. So there you go. Oftentimes they hold their value very well. I've seen 2009s that are very clean go for over 2,000 bucks. That's tremendous amount of resale value, as long as it's kept in really nice shape and all serviced up. So you may be wondering what the difference between the Buddy 125, the 150, and the 170i. Well, the major difference is the engine displacement between all of them. The Buddy 125 being nearly a 125cc engine, the 150 being bumped up to almost a 150 engine, and same with the 170, which is like a 167, I think. Those are the major differences between them. Speed-wise, they're all really close to the same speed. It is noticeable between the two, but it's not drastic, is the way I'd speak of the performance between the two. The Buddy 150 and 170, you definitely feel they have more torque and accelerate better, especially in that 0 to 30 range. But I think the 125 performs great. The downside is it does have a carburetor. Now in this day of age where it's something you need to keep running every couple weeks to keep the carburetor flowing clean, because if you let something like a Buddy 125 sit for 6 months, it's probably likely going to have a clogged carburetor, while the fuel injected one will just start right up. Obviously minus the battery you got to keep up as well. Fuel injection, they say it gets a little bit better mileage, but in my thoughts, they all seem to get about the same mileage. The 150, just like the 125, same carburetor, same everything, just a slightly larger engine, and then that's it. And the trim is mainly what changes between them as well. The International Series scooters, which usually are two-tone with white walls, start out with the Buddy 150 that's been discontinued for several years and has been replaced with the Buddy 170i, which are now in the international color scheme. So it's got a two-tone color keyed inner bodywork to the outer bodywork, white wall tires, and a bumped up motor. Along with the horns, that's the most important change between all of them. So maybe you're looking for a less expensive used one. What should you look out for on these scooters? Well, first of all, if it's just been neglected and ill-maintained, typically maybe in very poor cosmetic shape, these scooters tend to weather quite heavily if left outside, more so than a lot of the other brands. Doesn't really 100% affect the functionality. Obviously, getting corrosion on the switches or the brake components, that could affect the functionality of the engine and the safety. But that's one thing, these things are best to be kept under a cover or in a garage. As with any scooter, they just don't weather like leaving a car outside. So that's the first thing to look out for. Obviously, if it's in pretty poor cosmetic shape where it's been dropped or some small crashes and weathered, still runs good, you may be able to get yourself a bargain for a few $100s, up to maybe even $1,000 if it's been well maintained. For a very nice example, it's been kept in a garage. Like I said, they tend to hold their value very well because they're pretty much unchanged for the last 15 years. So expect to pay $1,500 on up for a used one, depending on the age and the service history and the condition of it overall. So everybody wonders how it rides. Maybe if I have a time, I'll do a POV video out in the hills. I do love the nimbleness of these scooters, especially in tight situations. They're short wheelbase, small wheels, makes them real nimble, so you can just snake in and out of stuff. You can go in between cars, up on curbs, all that kind of fun stuff you do on a scooter. Performance-wise, I feel they actually outperform the handling on the scooter. The frames are a little on the flimsy side. Being a tubular frame, you hit bumps and you could feel the handlebars kind of wiggle. Doesn't quite have that solid feel like a much higher end product like the Vespas. So keep that in mind. There's a little bit of you get what you pay for. The plus is the Genuine has a great 2-year warranty if you're buying a new one. They take care of their dealer network, and their dealer network's rather large and pretty robust. So throughout the whole United States, you'll find dealers all over the place that carry the Genuine products. And that's a good thing if you don't want to get your hands dirty and want to take it in for service. And if there's any issues that do arise, warranty. And I'll tell you, I rarely put warranty claims in for these things. I can't remember the last time I put one in, and we still sell these scooters. For the older ones, a couple things to watch out for, in addition to just the overall condition and what the service is. I'd always ask anybody that buys a used scooter from the prior owner, well, show me the service history. Show me you took care of this thing. Say it's got 6,000 miles. Do they have a record that they did the full 6,000 mile service? Or can they just say, I did an oil change 3 years ago? It totally makes a difference. Obviously tires, all the other stuff that just wears with owning a scooter. On the older ones, I find that the stator plates sometimes go out and you'll lose the ignition. Sometimes I'll find oil leaks on them. But other than that, they're just super reliable. Nothing really falls apart on them unless they're neglected. So if you're in Southern California and you're interested in the full genuine lineup, including the Buddy 125, Buddy 170, or many of the used Buddy scooters that we usually have available, or even the Buddy Kick that I'll cover at some point, check out our dealership, Vespa Motorsport. You can find us on the web, vespamotorsport.com. Has our contact information. You talk to the sales guy. Genuine has a lot of good financing options, which is a definite plus when you're buying new. Oftentimes you can get a very good financing rate versus paying for something used on credit or cash and having money tied up. There may be a good financing rate to go along with it, along with a 2-year warranty and starting out fresh. Check us out. If you're elsewhere, go to genuinescooters.com, and they have a very good dealer locator. Help out your local dealer, whether you're in some other state or in some other region. I find a lot of the dealers that sell this have a lot of love for the product, as with the whole customer base. I'll give a shout out to the Modern Buddy group. There's a forum or a group where a lot of people answer other people's questions on doing service and keeping these up, accessorizing them. Genuine has a full range of accessories available. Top case is a popular option to add more storage. And most dealers have those kind of products in stock, including our website. If you're looking to buy them, mail order, we stock all the accessories for the scooter, scooterwest.com. Check us out. Hope that summed up all my thoughts of the Buddy scooter. A great scooter at the price point with tons of reliability and great resale. That's where I would sum it up. The minuses, just doesn't handle like a modern scooter with 12-inch tires, especially comparing it to a Primavera or a Liberty. Those things are in a whole class of their own that's far above the scooter in handling and safety. So keep that in mind. You know, no ABS brakes on this scooter. A lot of stuff. A lot of people don't think about it, but it's kind of important to be safe on a scooter when you're out riding in the public roads if you got to stop quick. Especially a new rider, some of those safety systems may save you. Of course, you're going to pay a premium for them, but at this price point, you're looking for something that's inexpensive to service and lasts a long time. This is pretty much it. Until next time, this is Robot here from Vespa Motorsport and ScooterWest.com here in San Diego, California. Hope you liked the video. Most of my videos pertain to Vespas. Over 500 videos. Subscribe to our channel, it helps us out. Hit the bell to get notified on the weekly videos I post, all scooter related, ranging from servicing your scooter, both vintage and modern Vespas, occasionally a Buddy or Genuine video in there as well, or other scooters, and occasionally a trip video where I'll go on some type of trip and what you'd use a scooter for, in addition to commuting and just general transportation needs. If you do have a scooter, I encourage everybody to ride safe and stay safe and keep on scooting. The future in personal transportation is a scooter, and it's been here and it's already here, and doesn't cost you much to get on the saddle here.